the Africans needed to understand what was really going on. That just changing a leader alone is not enough. I also understood that in general, the reason we are unable to fight back, we are the most abused people on earth. The reason we are unable to stand up and say enough is enough and push back is because as Black people, we are still suffering from the legacy of slavery, the legacy of colonization, and that there is a need for us to realize that we are in the intensive care suffering from this affliction and that we needed healing and we need the healing fast, that we are still fast asleep, that we must wake up and we need to wake up fast. It's only when we are awoke and we unshackle the shackles of the mind that we can finally stand up and stand our ground and defend our turf and let the world know once and for all, you can no longer control us as Black people. You can no longer abuse us as Black people. That as united Africans, what little girls in Europe want is what little girls in Africa want. We are simply asking that the world must treat Africa fairly, with respect. The world must do with Africa what is right, what is just, and what is fair. So the wake-up call is to say, my brothers and sisters, understand your Africa from the root, not the way they want you to understand it. And understand that you are asleep and you need to wake up. Understand that you're suffering from this disease of colonization and slavery. It's only when we wake up that we can actually unite and take Africa to her rightful place. It is an enemy that we need to realize that as humanity, it's always easier to unite against a common enemy. So this time is calling for all of us as humanity to come together and speak with one voice. Certainly, when we look at the ravage that has been caused by COVID-19 around the world, and it looks like the United States is going to get the majority of it. A third of the cases now of the dead are coming out of, dead and infected are coming out of the United States. And majority of the people who are dying in the United States are Black. So now that leaves us wondering, what's going to happen when the epicenter shifts to Africa? It calls for us to say, while we may have been given advance warning, by this time, we should have been in full execution mode. Well, the way we are looking at is African diaspora is to say, what role can we play as African diaspora to also participate in the preparation for what may end up to be the biggest pandemic with the most carnage created, devastating effects in Africa. The reality is COVID is something that we should not take lightly. So as African diaspora, we're looking at a situation of saying, how can we play a role in supporting the African heads of states and the African CDC with whatever efforts they're making continentally as well as at a national level. It is my understanding that through CDC, they now have created a fund where they are encouraging people to donate. Those funds will be managed by the African Union. So we support that effort fully. But on our end also, we feel that we need to, especially in my case, being a medical doctor, I feel strongly that the frontline workers must get the supplies that they deserve. They must have the protective gear that they deserve. When we look at how much an average mask is costing today, I feel very strongly that the African women and men, the tailors in Africa, we can manufacture those PPEs. And so our hope is through ADDI, we are raising funds to buy fabrics so we can empower the women and men, tailors and seamstresses in Africa from one country to the other and pay them to sew the masks, particularly starting with the surgical masks, as well as the regular masks. We're getting to a point where just about everybody is going to need to wear a mask. So the average person on the street does not have to wear the surgical mask. They can wear a regular mask. We can save a lot of money that way. So the women in Africa, the tailors in Africa who are making dresses, we're going to be reaching out to them to say, please put aside the dresses for now. The need is in sewing these much needed PPEs. So we're in the process of fundraising. Our hope is to have 5 regional distribution centers, a center in each region where we will amass the needed COVID supplies And at a national level, we empower the women who are sewing to make sure that they put aside their dressmaking programs and concentrate on manufacturing the needed gowns and face masks. So we're doing our part in whatever programs, preventive and containment procedures they have put in place at a national level as well as at a continental level. But let's face it, Africa is not ready. I was looking at a report as late as 2 weeks ago. There are about 10 countries in Africa that don't have a single ventilator. So let's be realistic. On a given day, the average African country does not have what the country needs to take care of the basic ailments that the citizens are going to present to medical facilities for. So in the situation of a pandemic, we really need to realize that we have a long way to go and everybody must play their part, which is why through ADDI, we're urging everybody to go to our addi.org and donate towards the much needed COVID supplies. And in my end, I still say we can manufacture as much of those COVID supplies on the continent. So we hope when it's all said and done, if all the funds that are being donated to the continent could be used in a coordinated manner, Africa could actually find ourselves in a better place health-wise as we emerge out of COVID. But first and foremost, let's see if we can survive the pandemic by coming together and speaking with one voice.